She had the world at her feet and a loving family by her side.
Somebody in the family would talk to her every day.
We're in constant contact.
Until one day, she went silent.
Her phone went straight to voicemail.
Something was extremely off.
For her to disappear just wasn't like her.
As detectives search for the truth, they'll uncover a slew of suspects.
She had several men in her life.
One of the officers on the case was the very person that she was last known to be with.
But soon, detectives will uncover a dangerous pattern.
She was like a magnet for bad guys.
He had a past history of violence.
As the case unfolds, detectives will come face to face with a man that would stop at nothing to keep her all to himself.
Everything spiraled out of control.
He just threw her away like she was trash.
No person does that to another human being.
In my eyes, he's a monster.
Saturday, October 29th, 2016, 1:15 a.m. It's a quiet morning in Berkeley, Missouri, a small suburb just outside of the bustling city of St. Louis.
Berkeley is small. Everybody knows everybody. If you don't know someone, you know someone that knows someone.
Over on the east side of town, 30-year-old Dana Bailey is asleep in her home.
So that evening, I sat on the couch waiting for my sister to come home. It was about 1 o'clock in the morning. I ended up falling asleep on the couch waiting for her, thinking, okay, she'll be home soon.
Monica?
It wasn't like her sister to stay out all night and not let her know she wouldn't be home.
She's not the type to hide anything. She will let you know, hey, this is what I'm doing, and it is what it is. She wouldn't go this long without talking to me. I can't get in touch with her.
Monica?
That's when I felt like something was not right. And I just remember saying, Lord, please let my sister be okay. I didn't know what to feel. It just seemed like a nightmare.
Dana runs back to the living room and anxiously calls their mother.
Dana called me and asked me had I seen or talked to Monica.
I haven't seen her all day. I'm scared.
It was gut-wrenching, like, what has happened to her?
Dana and Monica's parents agree to rush over. Within minutes, Dana is startled by a loud knock. However, it's not who she was expecting.
The police showed up at my door, like someone had called the police.
To see this police officer at her home, she's immediately more concerned.
You must be Dana.
Yeah?
Did Monica come home last night?
No, she didn't.
It was clear he knew Monica. He wasn't just there on official business.
The officer introduces himself as Robert Howard, a friend of Monica's.
Red flags are going off in terms of, why don't I know or why haven't I heard about this Robert guy before?
The way that he came to my house, it was very strange.
As Dana grows increasingly uneasy, Officer Howard then starts asking about Monica's love life.
Her exes. Did either of them come in contact with her today?
I don't know.
He started asking me about the ex-boyfriend and discussing her boyfriend. But then he says, well, has she said anything about me? It just felt very eerie and awkward.
After several unsettling questions, Dana is relieved to see her parents arrive.
What's going on here? Is Monica back?
How you doing? I'm Robert Howard, sir.
Dana was standing with a uniformed cop. We walk up, and the uniformed officer steps forward.
This guy walked up to me and said, hi, Miss Sykes. I'm Robert. I'm Monica's friend.
Monica's very open with her family, tells her family who she's hanging out with, who she's dating. And so Regina is instantly suspicious of this Robert person.
Why would you go to my daughter's house on your own and start talking to her? It's a gut feeling that something's not right. "25-year-old Monica Sykes had a wonderful and fun-loving spirit.
Monica was very outgoing, and she was very much so a people person.
She was the life of the party, and she was always fun.
Even though she was small, she just seemed larger than life.
Monica always seemed to have a smile on her face and a special place in her heart for her family.
Family is very important to us. It's just the way we are.
She was always texting or calling her sister throughout the day.
She would call and just be like, "What are you doing?" "Okay, I'll talk to you later, girl, bye." Then she would call back maybe 10 minutes later. We are very close-knit. We do pretty much everything together.
Monica had recently moved in with her sister, Dana.
She decided that she was gonna come and help me out with the boys, but I think it was kind of a help for her as well, just because she wasn't by herself.
Living in the same house with her nephews was one of the greatest things ever because she wanted to be around them all the time.
She was the fun TT. Anything they wanted, TT would get.
She definitely took care of those kids like they were her own.
Monica had always had a soft spot for kids. In fact, children were her passion.
She loved kids, so she ended up going to school for early childhood education. And that's what she wanted to do with her life.
Monica not only wanted a career in childcare, but also hoped to become a mother herself. The man she had hoped to marry was 25-year-old Jason Galloway.
They dated for several years. That was pretty much the one serious relationship that she was in.
They loved each other unconditionally. They had a bond.
However, their bond began to fray at the seams.
He was not kind to her.
I think that he probably was controlling.
Eventually, the arguments turned volatile.
We didn't find this out until later on because, of course, she never told me.
She told me that he was abusive to her. I told her she needed to leave him alone. I was upset that he would hit her. Somebody that hits you, you can't stay in a relationship with them.
Hey, not doing this, huh?
Finally, the escalating fights forced Monica to move on.
Get your hands off of me!
She finally realized or recognized that she needed to just end it and get out of it because it wasn't healthy.
Newly single, Monica threw herself into work.
She would work multiple jobs. She was trying to get her money together to, live the way she wanted to live.
She saw herself living in a big home with a degree, with a business.
And that's something she would tell me all the time, like, I want to be somebody successful.
But before Monica knew it, another man caught her attention, 27-year-old Ray Ellis.
She was serious about him and really saw them being somewhere years down the road. You could tell that she was happier. She started to get her hair done and started to dress up more.
Ray was exactly what Monica needed after her hostile breakup with Jason.
She really liked this guy. To finally be with a good guy, it was refreshing to her.
They just clicked, and they had a really undeniable chemistry.
With a new boyfriend, a budding career, and a strong family unit, Monica seemed to be destined for great things. But in the early morning hours of Saturday, October 29th, Monica is missing, and an all too inquisitive police officer stands in her doorway.
He was asking her a lot of questions about Monica's current boyfriend and her ex-boyfriend.
I thought it was strange. We didn't know anything about this guy.
Soon, family will discover the man in uniform also had a secret.
It was quite a bombshell that Robert revealed to the detectives.
He was actually one of the last people to see her alive.
With a great family and an exciting new career on the horizon, Monica Sykes had the world at her feet.
She was working 2 jobs and was trying to save money for her education.
She wanted to own a daycare, actually take over my grandmother's daycare.
After a devastating breakup with longtime boyfriend Jason Galloway, Monica had found romance again with handsome 27-year-old Ray Ellis.
She always said he was nice. He was fun to hang around. It did seem like she was happy.
He was kind of quiet and laid back, kind of the opposite of the guy that she had previously dated.
But now the 25-year-old is missing, and her family is desperate for answers.
It's been almost an entire day where she's had no contact with anyone in our family.
She was constantly in touch with her sister and her parents, so this was real uncharacteristic of her.
A police officer claiming to be Monica's friend has come forward to help.
He introduced himself as Robert Howard.
But the family finds the officer's sudden arrival suspicious.
The fact that he came to the house and the questions he was asking gave us red flags.
Despite his unsettling behavior, Monica's family decides to take the officer's advice.
He said, well, look, that whole 24 hours to file a missing person report, that's on television. You don't have to wait. Go to the police department right now.
Officer Robert Howard escorts the family to the police station. Detectives speak with Monica's family as Officer Howard waits in the hall.
Do you know if she had issues with anyone?
They asked us the basic questions. Has Monica left before? Is this her behavior? Was there anything going on? And the answer was no to everything.
Monica's sister Dana explains that the morning before she went missing, she had popped in at home for a few minutes before heading out again.
Friday morning, she came home, and my kids, they saw her. I didn't see her. I just heard her saying, "Woo, I'm tired," as she came in. So I assumed she just went and laid down. I was in a rush trying to get the kids ready so that they can get to school and I could get to work.
Dana says that as she was leaving the house, she realized Monica was no longer home.
She came in about 6:48 that morning, and then the security system, when she walked out the door, stated it was 7:01 when she left, so 13 minutes later, she was gone.
I asked the kids, "Did your TT leave?" And that's when my son, he told me, TT said she was gonna come back.
She told her nephews that she was gonna bring them back some candy.
From that point forward, no one ever heard from her again.
Detectives ask if Monica had anyone she didn't get along with.
Well, she did have some trouble a few months back.
What type of trouble?
It was with her old boyfriend, Jason.
Dana says that Jason Galloway and Monica had been together for years, but it had recently ended.
There were allegations that her ex-boyfriend had been abusive to her.
In hindsight, what I eventually learned about him was that he had a violent history.
Dana explains that after her breakup with Jason, Monica moved in with her and the boys and was much happier. But it seemed Jason wasn't ready to let her go.
This prior boyfriend would not leave Monica alone, to the point that he was even stalking Monica.
Once they broke up, she told me that he would start coming to her job, trying to talk to her.
Monica's family explains that he had been jealous that Monica was moving on.
Monica has recently began dating a guy named Ray Ellis.
She really liked him, and even though it was new, there was really a connection.
However, Monica's parents admit they knew little about their daughter's new man.
She brought him to Dana's house, but as far as bringing him around the family, she had never brought him around.
He was very quiet. He didn't talk a whole lot. He would say a few things here and there, but he would just sit around and watch TV with us.
Detectives ask if perhaps the new couple had left on a last-minute weekend getaway.
No, she would never run off and not tell us. Not tell me.
She was also scheduled for work this weekend, but she would never blow off her job.
She hadn't checked in, she hadn't come home, she hadn't gone to work. So there was so many things that was out of her character.
With Jason Galloway and Ray Ellis on detectives' radar, Monica's family offers up a third person of interest.
They tell the detectives they have this suspicious feeling towards this officer, Robert.
The way he just showed up and started asking questions about her exes, it was really suspicious.
Detectives had to agree. Officer Howard's connection with this case was strange.
We didn't know what his involvement could have possibly been with her disappearance, and they took us seriously.
Detectives have no choice but to talk to their fellow officer.
They say, Robert, what do you know about this Monica person? What light can you shed on this for us?
He was nervous. He understood the ramifications of how it looked.
This was a red flag for detectives.
Berkeley, Missouri detectives are investigating the disappearance of 25-year-old Monica Sykes.
It's been almost an entire day where she's had no contact with anyone.
Detectives have just learned that Officer Robert Howard had become close to Monica, a fact that has aroused her family's suspicions.
The officer had weirdly showed up at her home in the middle of the night, and he was asking questions about her disappearance.
Before speaking with Officer Howard, detectives look into the shift log and are relieved. It seems their fellow officer was telling the truth.
He goes to work, clocks in, and starts his duties as an officer.
There was no way he could have done it. He was at work from the time he dropped her off to the time he got to her home.
You know, nobody wants to be accused of things that they didn't do. So you can't do anything but try to find understanding within that. Monica's family never knew me, never knew my name. I feel them now. I completely understand.
While Officer Howard is crossed off the suspect list, detectives speak with him to gain more insight about Monica.
I'd say she's a friend. She's a waitress. We met at the restaurant where she works.
Coffee, officer?
Sure. You can call me Robert.
Officer Howard tells detectives he didn't know Monica well, but was drawn to her.
We didn't get a chance to do a whole lot. The time that we did spend together, we would, conversate, we'd be talking. She had a chance to come to my house and see where I lived at.
When was the last time you all hung out?
Thursday night.
When exactly?
Well, she stayed the night.
Just friends, but she stayed the night?
Yeah, it was late, and she was upset after a fight with someone, so I offered to let her stay.
So we went to sleep, woke up in the morning, we got dressed, left the house, dropped her off, went to work, clocked in, and then later on that day, boom, all this happened.
Officer Howard says though he was interested in Monica, the two kept it platonic, since she was mid-breakup with her boyfriend, Ray Ellis.
I definitely knew from the beginning that it was ending. I truly believe she wouldn't have talked to me if they were not. She wasn't that type of person.
Detectives didn't realize Monica and her boyfriend were on the outs.
The relationship was taking a toll on her. I think eventually she got tired. She was done.
The only thing I knew about him is that I knew of him through her. She was tired of his attitude, and she was upset about some issues.
Officer Howard says after his shift, he swung by Monica's place to check on her.
It's not like Monica. Not let somebody know what was going on. I became concerned because that just wasn't her character.
Officer Howard tells detectives he was especially concerned after Monica had a particularly heated conversation with someone on the phone.
She was on the phone a lot of the time, arguing with somebody.
He could tell it was a man by the nature of the call and what they were arguing about.
Detectives wonder who Monica was talking to, her ex-boyfriend, Jason Galloway, or her new man, Ray Ellis. Officer Howard says he's not sure, but after the call, he tried to talk to Monica about it.
I even said, hey, why don't you just, kind of like tell your sister or, tell your parents or something what's going on. Maybe somebody can step up and try to do something different. But she was like, she could handle it.
Officer Howard tells detectives that he really liked Monica, that he wanted to help her, but he had to respect her wishes.
When the person don't want your help, you have to respect them. You have to do what they ask you to do. So if they tell you, don't do this, you don't do it. I kind of wish I would have just been hard-headed and did what I wanted to do.
She seemed to be a magnet for bad men, and he was trying to get her away from all that and show her what life is like with a good man.
As the sun comes up, detectives start looking into the other two men in Monica's life.
The ex-boyfriend stuck out in our minds because there were points where he was abusive toward Monica.
Is it possible Monica had a confrontation with Jason that led to her disappearance?
She would speak up for herself, so it was maybe one of those things where she thought she could take care of it herself.
Or had there been trouble brewing between Monica and her new man?
She had never brought him around our family.
Either way, the pressure is on, and with each passing minute, the chances of finding Monica alive diminish. Detectives' best bet now is to interview both men and generate a lead before it's too late.
If he had hurt her before, he could have done it again. Maybe he took it too far this time.
Sometimes you think you know someone, and they turn out to be completely different than you thought.
They just knew they needed to find her, and fast.
October 29th, 2016. Detectives are investigating the disappearance of 25-year-old Monica Sykes. She was last seen 24 hours earlier when her friend Robert Howard witnessed a heated phone conversation.
She was on a phone. She mad at this dude. They got into a real big argument.
But who had Monica been arguing with, and where is she now? Detectives have two solid leads: ex-boyfriend Jason Galloway and new man Ray Ellis. First up for questioning is Jason.
She had to end it with him because he was not kind to her. He was even abusive, so she ended that relationship. And once it ended, it was not something that ended well.
Detectives sit down with Jason and confront him with the allegations of abuse.
He said that he would never hurt Monica and that he would always love her.
They got into a fight towards the end of their relationship, and he threw something at her at my house. At that time, I was not there, but I remember her calling me crying.
He had a violent history, and he was a jealous type of guy.
Jason admits that he had never treated Monica right, but they loved each other, and that's why he hadn't wanted to let her go.
There were times that they were madly in love, though, as well. It depended on the day.
Jason even confesses to following her around.
He was coming up there trying to get back together with her, and she didn't have any interest in him.
She confided in me toward the end of the relationship what was going on. It did seem like it was taking its toll on her.
As the questioning continues, Jason breaks down.
Hey, if you know where she is, you need to tell us.
I'm telling you, I don't know anything about it, okay?
Where were you Friday morning?
I was at my place, getting ready for work.
It's a flimsy alibi, to say the least, but Jason holds steadfast.
He is really disturbed and upset, and he appears to really genuinely be concerned about Monica being missing.
He was adamant. He had nothing to do with anything.
He also goes on to tell the investigators that it's been weeks since he had any kind of contact with Monica at all.
If Jason is telling the truth, then detectives suspect Monica's heated phone call was most likely with her current boyfriend, Ray Ellis. But according to Monica's friend, Monica's relationship with Ray was on the outs.
She referred to it as a bad relationship. She said, I'm fed up with this relationship. I'm finna let it go.
We're all frantic because we don't know where she is. We haven't spoken to her. It's just unbelievable.
There's only one way to find out for sure who Monica was speaking to on the night of the 27th.
They subpoenaed Monica's phone records and were able to get them expedited.
The records were able to confirm to detectives that Monica was talking to Ray during those alleged arguments that Robert described.
Police quickly locate Ray Ellis, and he agrees to talk with detectives.
Ray Ellis tells the police that he has no idea where Monica is.
I haven't seen her in a few days. I'm just concerned as you guys are. Her sister called, said she was missing, but I haven't seen her.
Ray says, look, I don't know anything about Monica's missing situation. I have not spoken to Monica in a few days, and I'm concerned as well as everyone else regarding Monica's whereabouts.
That's when detectives pull their ace in the hole, Monica's cell phone records. It seems she had spoken to Ray numerous times on the night of the 27th.
He couldn't really argue with phone records.
Once confronted, Ray clams up and asks for a lawyer.
When a person asks for an attorney, it just simply puts the investigator back out there to continue their investigation.
With nothing to hold him on, detectives have no choice but to set Ray free. In the meantime, detectives go back to the drawing board while keeping a close eye on Ray Ellis and Jason Galloway.
Detectives followed up with Ray's brother, Jermaine Benjamin, who confirmed to them that Ray was with him the morning Monica disappeared.
48 hours after Monica went missing, detectives feel the pressure is mounting.
Detectives had their suspicions about Ray and Jason, but nothing that could definitively tell them if they were involved in her disappearance.
However, it's not long before detectives receive a call that could break the case wide open.
Hey, you gotta go.
It seems Monica's nephew remembers something about the morning he last saw her.
Monica's nephew looks out the window and notices Monica gets into a car with another person.
Detectives had already interviewed Monica's sister and her parents, but it appeared that her nephew could provide a much-needed lead in the case.
Detectives knew Monica had only been home for a few minutes before leaving. The question is, who was she leaving with?
If her nephew could identify who Monica had left with, detectives might be able to find the person who was responsible for her disappearance.
Can you tell us what happened the last time you saw your aunt?
He was a very articulate young man for his age. And this child was very aware of what happened.
He ran to the window and he saw her get into the car.
Detectives had assumed that when Monica left the house on Friday morning, that she had left on foot. But this revelation opens up a whole new world of possibilities.
There was a store nearby, and she didn't have a vehicle of her own, so it was a reasonable assumption.
They needed to know exactly who was driving that vehicle.
The nephew didn't get a good look at the driver, but he could see it was a white four-door vehicle, and he was able to describe it perfectly down to the bumper sticker on the back.
Detectives immediately put out a bolo for the white sedan. They also called the station to check the vehicles registered to Jason Galloway and Ray Ellis.
There wasn't a white sedan registered to either of the men, so police still weren't sure who she had left with.
Emotions were running high on our end because we couldn't find her. We just wanted to find her.
Detectives also look around the home for any additional clues as to where Monica may have been going or who she could be with.
The lead detective, she searched my house. She searched Monica's room.
The police did not see anything out of the ordinary.
It didn't necessarily seem that it was foul play, but there was a sense of urgency on our part.
Soon, investigators will finally catch a break. It seems the white sedan has been found.
That car was found on fire. It's fully engulfed, which means someone had to set it on fire.
But the search for answers is just beginning.
There's really only one reason why someone would set a car on fire, and that is to destroy evidence of a crime.
November 1st, 2016. 25-year-old Monica Sykes has been missing for 4 days. Though detectives suspect Monica's ex, Jason Galloway, or her new man, Ray Ellis, could have something to do with her disappearance, there's no concrete evidence of foul play.
She came home for just a few minutes on Friday morning. She spoke with her nephew, and then she left.
The nephew saw her get in the car through the front window.
Luckily, Monica's 6-year-old nephew was able to describe the white sedan to a T.
They were able to put a bolo out on the vehicle based on what the young man saw.
Finally, the bolo produces a promising lead.
We received a call from St. Louis County indicate that that car was found on fire.
Officers get a call that a vehicle is burning. They go to the location. They locate the burning vehicle.
Detectives arrive on the scene after firefighters have extinguished the blaze. It's clear that whoever set the fire did so to cover their tracks.
It pretty much destroyed the vehicle and destroyed everything in there.
They described it as a burn where nothing is recoverable. They said it was melted metal.
However, detectives are able to recover one clue.
The vehicle's VIN number was still intact.
Police run the VIN number of this vehicle, and they discover that it was registered to Ray Ellis's brother.
It's difficult to believe in the minds of the investigator that this is a coincidence.
Despite the questionable alibi of Monica's ex-boyfriend, Jason Galloway, police focus their efforts on Monica's new man, Ray Ellis.
They believed he was the person she had gotten into a fight with over the phone the night before her disappearance.
With the phone records and the torched vehicle, detectives are certain Ray is their man.
They felt like he was the guy. They just had to prove it.
Detectives continue to search the area near the car for additional clues.
Next to the burning car, police find a partially burnt latex glove.
The glove was sent off for DNA analysis. People put on gloves to try to hide, like fingerprints, not understanding the DNA portion of it.
While detectives wait for the results, they bring Ray Ellis back in for questioning.
He's not Mr. Cool under pressure. He was acting somewhat nervous.
He probably knew the jig was up once they found the car, but he continued to maintain his innocence.
Detectives put the pressure on Ray for Monica's whereabouts.
You hope to get a confession out of him and bring the case to a conclusion.
So where is she, Ray?
I already told you, I don't know anything.
Why'd you bring the car?
Buying the car? Man, what are you talking about?
They confront Ray with this evidence, and Ray says, hey, on the day of Monica's disappearance, my brother was driving the car, not me.
Why else would your brother be burning your car up? He's in cahoots with you.
They believe that Ray felt that they were getting too close to him. So Ray sets the car on fire to hide evidence.
The whole point of setting fire to that vehicle is to get rid of all evidence. Blood evidence, fingerprints, any evidence that may have came off of her, hair evidence.
But it's clear Ray has no intention of confessing to anything.
It's like I already told you, Detective. I didn't do nothing. I don't know nothing. And I want my lawyer.
At that point, he asked for an attorney.
That's how it's gonna be? That's fine.
He refuses to answer any other questions from the investigators.
Detectives hold Ray and hope the DNA results from the glove will finally prove his guilt. Within a few hours, the results come back. But unfortunately, they only muddy the waters.
They thought it was going to come back as a match for Ray. However, it comes back as a match for Ray's brother.
We didn't suspect that brother killed Monica or had something to do with her being killed.
Detectives suspect Ray's brother Jermaine helped torch the car at his brother's request. However, after speaking with Jermaine, they learn he is just as tight-lipped as his brother.
When Jermaine arrives at the station, he lawyers up and refuses to answer questions.
This was very disappointing to police. They knew they had their guy, but they needed something concrete to prove it.
With the Ellis brothers not talking, detectives will need more than a burning car to charge either of them in connection to the disappearance of Monica Sykes.
We truly believe that Monica's not alive at this point. Now it's search and rescue efforts and trying to find her remains.
Police had called us into the police department and sat us down and said, we want to prepare you for the fact that we believe Monica is dead.
To know something bad happened to your loved one and not know what, not know where they are, and not be able to do anything about it, it was just heartbreaking for the family.
I still wanted to try and have some hope. It was really depressing.
Months pass with no new developments.
You have to find a way to get justice for her. The first fight was finding her and what happened to her.
Unwilling to give up on finding their loved one, Monica's family looks into recovery efforts.
We just wanted her to come home.
I found out about Texas EquiSearch through a local reporter here.
It's a group that'll go out and do searches. We met personally the guy that runs it, and he explained to us what their process is when they're searching for somebody. First of all, he said, "Can I speak to you bluntly?" And we said, yes. He said, okay. Once we get involved, this is not about finding Monica. This is about recovery. And I need you all to understand that. And so, okay, it's a hard pill to swallow, but we understand.
On February 4th, 2017, 3 months after Monica's disappearance, the Berkeley Police Department, along with the Texas EquiSearch organization, find the remains of an African-American female.
People come out and through this grid search that they mapped out, the body was found.
The body was found discarded in an overgrown area in the community of Kinloch, which was about 2 miles outside of Berkeley.
It's starting to become desolate. A lot of residents have moved out. You have a lot of condemned homes. A lot of areas that once had homes are now being demolished.
The entire area is like a dumping ground. Mattresses, tires, appliances. That's where you take it. You take all of that stuff to Kinloch and you just dump it.
If anyone wanted to get rid of a body, that would be the place to go.
When the remains are found, it was just skeletal, and I still wanted to try and have some hope. So I didn't want to believe it was her.
Sadly, the DNA results proved devastating for the family of Monica Sykes.
The DNA results confirmed that the remains belong to Monica.
California Department of Justice had to take my DNA and then her siblings' DNA to do the testing, and it was confirmed that the remains of Monica. That was just this moment in time that's just frozen forever for all of us. And we try and figure out, how do you get past that moment? And it's the most difficult thing that anybody that loves someone would ever have to go through.
It was just something that was in the back of my head already. And, now I can't deny it anymore. It's real and it's true. At that time, I had to call Regina and tell her the news.
I just want to ball up and die myself. That I can't believe this has happened.
It was hard, it was heartbreaking, but it was a little bit of relief as well.
Not only is Monica confirmed deceased, her case is now reclassified as a homicide.
They were able to determine the cause of death as being a gunshot wound.
Now more than ever, police seek justice for the family.
They fully believed it was Ray Ellis who had murdered her and that he enlisted his brother to help torch the car. They just didn't have proof.
But suddenly, someone comes forward that can confirm once and for all what happened to Monica.
He indicated that he had some information for us.
This tip literally cracks the case wide open.
February 4th, 2017. Berkeley police, along with aid from the Texas EquiSearch organization, have just recovered the remains of missing 25-year-old Monica Sykes.
It's not possible for me to describe it. It's a wound that never ever heals.
It was just so crushing.
Detectives believe Monica's killer to be her estranged boyfriend, Ray Ellis.
There was an abundance of evidence that really led us to believe that Ray Ellis committed the crime.
She was seen leaving in Ray's brother's car, and then that car ends up torched. And near the car, police find a glove with Ray's brother's DNA inside of it. It was all just too coincidental.
However, all evidence on Ray Ellis and his brother is circumstantial at best. They need something to solidify their case against them. And it's not long until they finally get what they're looking for.
A friend of Ray's came forward and said that he had information on Monica's murder.
Detectives speak with 26-year-old Daniel Stone.
He's a longtime friend of Ray.
Daniel says Ray had told them everything one night.
The other night we were hanging out, and I knew something was wrong because he was acting really weird. And I was like, hey, what's up? And he just said, I killed her. I killed Monica.
Ray Ellis indicated that he had killed Monica Sykes and dumped her body.
What, did he say why he did it?
He said it started that night. She spent the night with that cop.
Ray sat outside her residence and watched her being dropped off by another man.
He kept it cool and asked her to go talk for a bit when he saw her outside.
Monica, baby.
Daniel says Ray told him Monica then went inside for a few minutes to change and came back outside, and the two drove off.
I'm sure Monica never thought that Ray would reach the point where he would harm her.
According to Daniel, Ray said the two stopped off around Kinloch, and that's when he flew into a jealous rage.
Who was you with last night?
Bryn, but I told you we're through. I don't want to do this anymore, Ray.
Tell me what happened.
I just want to move on, Ray.
It gets hostile, it gets argumentative. Ray snaps.
Tell me what happened.
Nothing happened, Ray, but we're not together anymore.
Oh, yeah, whatever. We're not together anymore, Ray. You know what?
No. Ray, put the gun away. You need to put the gun down, Ray. Put the gun down.
Ray got so mad, he just shot her.
Daniel says Ray then pushed Monica out of the car and drove off. He waited until he could enlist his brother to help him burn the car.
He burned the car because the blood evidence is in the vehicle.
Daniel even tells detectives that Ray had mentioned using latex gloves to avoid fingerprints, a detail that convinced detectives Daniel is telling the truth.
He has information that was not made public.
Based upon Daniel's statement, the officers believe they have enough to charge Ray with the death of Monica.
On April 3rd, 2017, 5 months after Monica disappeared, Ray Ellis is formally charged with her murder.
He was charged with second-degree murder because first-degree murder, they have to prove intent, that there was a plan for it.
Detectives also arrest Ray's brother, Jermaine Benjamin.
Ray Ellis' brother was charged with tampering with physical evidence.
He pled guilty and received a 4-year sentence, but prosecutors were unable to secure his testimony against Ray.
On September 10th, 2018, the trial for Ray Ellis gets underway.
He was acting quite smug, like he knew he was going to get off.
Having to sit in a courtroom with him, not even looking like he was remorseful for anything, it was the hardest thing that I've ever had to do in my life.
The worst thing in our lives had already happened. So I refused to let him be able to sit in a courtroom and not have to look at the faces of the people whose hearts that he has broken.
The prosecution contends that Ray couldn't handle the thought of Monica with another man, so he killed her in cold blood.
He shot her in that car in broad daylight.
The evidence, coupled with Daniel Stone's testimony, seals Ray's fate.
They found Ray guilty of murder.
When he said guilty, we were glad knowing that the fight was won and that we got justice for her.
It was relief, even though it doesn't bring her back.
The judge sentences Ray to life in prison.
Ray Ellis is where he needs to be.
However, Monica's friends and family still endure the pain of her absence.
It's just as really sorry when someone is behind bars and your loved one is no longer here.
I'm still trying to wrap my head around how to live life without her.
We have this huge Monica-sized hole in our lives that will never be filled. We miss her every single day.